All right, everybody, welcome back to the Future Families Podcast. My name is Silas.
I'm Aaron.
And I'm Zane.
And we're coming to you today from Missouri.
Oh, I thought we were in sunny Australia.
Don't tell them where we're at.
It's a whole state. They're not going to figure it out.
We're in a bunker. Anyway,
It does seem like a bunker.
it does.
Okay, so, Dad, what do you do real quick, just to give them a little bit of an idea?
I have 14 children, 12 grandchildren, and I run a program for boys called Future Men, a discipleship program, and which is about, 18 to 20 boys.
18, 20 boys, Zane?
Yep.
I work at that boarding school. I've worked there for about 5 years as a
Discipleship program.
family director. Yes.
It functions as both.
Mm-hmm.
And you technically pay us both now. So we're both on payroll, which means this
my
could just
gosh.
be a whole podcast on nepotism and control and manipulation.
It could be.
But it's probably not. I thought we could start with a little bit of a life update.
Go ahead.
Oh,
your,
no.
Your wife's pregnant.
Okay, no.
Spread the word. Let everybody know. Drop and make
She's
a comment
gonna
post.
be very frustrated. She doesn't like when people say
I
that.
don't care.
I know. You can keep it in. She's not pregnant. She doesn't care. My life update was I just turned 27
Oh, wow.
So-
when was your birthday?
2 days ago.
I know.
You actually called me.
I did.
That actually
And
might
I
be the-
sang a song to you.
If you don't know this about Dad, he's not very.
Caring? No, I'm caring. I'm very
You care,
caring.
but you just don't show it that great sometimes.
Well, on like birthdays and stuff. I mean, you didn't do anything.
on things that matter to other people, but I don't care about. I
Yeah.
don't say anything. See that?
Happy birthday,
See,
Silas.
I know you care. but
Happy
like,
birthday. I
thank
love you.
Thank you. That really means a lot.
I'll touch you.
Um,
So 27.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Great.
we're gonna do a podcast on what things I learned at 26, but we'll save that one.
Oh, that'd be a great one. Tune in. Like and subscribe.
That's my only life update.
Aren't you just going to put that on your Instagram later? Just like, this is what I learned in 26.
Are you making fun
The
of me
rap.
for my Instagram right now?
Did
I've
we do it
just seen
last week
people
with a
do
rap
that.
on Spotify?
It's my yearly.
This is
Wrapped.
similar, yeah. So my life update, Monday morning.
Oh, wait. No, I have another life update.
Oh, you are pregnant.
I'm very proud of this. Not pregnant. I almost got in a car wreck yesterday.
Well,
I
that's
was-
definitely something to be proud of. Good
And
job, Silas.
no, it was their fault. 1,000% their fault. And the guy, like I slammed my horn and I sat on it and he goes like this. He goes, like shoves me away metaphorically. And I'm on the phone with Zane. And guess what I didn't do? Pretty proud
I
of
hope
this.
curse.
Jules, I hope you're listening. I didn't cuss once.
Well, that's good. You cussed twice, right?
No, I didn't cuss. I use that joke.
Yeah, the Bible says, let no profane speech come out of your mouth. So
But
it's good.
if you know me, sometimes I cuss a little bit.
What?
And
Okay, this podcast is now canceled. We need to get back to parenting.
Sanctification, right?
Yeah,
there.
it
yeah,
is. Good
and
job,
so
Silas.
it's
I'm really
working.
proud of you.
And
Happy
the-
birthday.
Thank you. It's a new thing. In 27, I'm more wise.
Wow,
So,
excellent.
Self-control.
mhm.
Surgery Monday morning for me. There's my life update. So be praying for me.
Oh.
So I'll probably be walking like an older man.
Actually, by the time you see this, he'll already
Be healed.
either be dead or healed.
Ooh, dead would be all right. I'd take
No,
that.
Why don't you be
I have
dead?
a life insurance policy. Heaven is way better.
I'm more concerned.
Like
I'm
Paul says.
concerned about the state of your will. I need to make sure I inherit everything.
This
before
is
you
getting
die.
morbid, I think.
All right, Zane, what about you? Any life
It's
updates?
a very
Hey,
non-life-threatening surgery.
Yeah, actually, please don't die.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I just want that in my
I'll do my
camera,
best.
So when
All
I'm
right,
in
Zane.
court,
Well, my life update. Well, my buffalo is.
Your buffalo.
have you ever played high-low buffalo?
No, I don't play those kind of games. All right, go ahead, Zane. Tell us your buffalo.
My best friend had a birthday this week.
Who's your best friend? Oh,
Silas.
Silas. Oh,
Yeah.
happy birthday, Silas.
Thanks.
So your
that's a
life
nice
update is
plug.
kind of his life update.
Yeah.
Nothing else?
There
You're
wasn't
married,
like a lot
you
of
know,
things
Lizzie's
that
doing
happened
good.
this week.
All's
Yeah,
well.
we're doing well.
Getting ready for Christmas?
Getting ready for Christmas. Had a fight with this shoe company that I ordered my wife's gift from, and
So
they
does she know
sent it
she's
to
getting
the
a pair of
wrong
shoes?
adrass. So.
Does she know?
Does she know what?
She's
getting
getting
shoes?
She doesn't know.
She knows
This will
now.
be
Lizzie, you're getting
posted.
shoes.
So we post.
Lizzie,
Lizzie, if you're listening,
Don't listen.
enjoy those ultras.
I didn't say what
I
kind of
mean-
shoes.
Uggs.
Things you put on your feet.
Give her Uggs.
Your
Then she'll really love
sandals.
you. That's truth. That's true love there, Uggs.
Oh, life update. This is actually a test to see if Mom actually listens to
She
this.
doesn't. Well, she might.
You guys had Mom made steak for
Oh, yeah.
director's party. You guys had your director's Christmas party.
We did.
And then I made steak for my birthday we had last night party. And almost a lot of the directors came over. And it was unanimous that
Ours
my
was better.
steak- no, mine was better.
Was it there?
I said Lori's was better.
That is
Thanks,
not true, you liar.
What was better about it?
You said, I'm saying yours is, you said yours is definitely better, but don't tell Lori.
Oh, wow.
Putting
All right,
words in my
we better
mouth.
we better get to content.
Okay, anyway. So, Mom, if you're listening, text me today.
He'll give you some pointers.
All right. So today we are discussing what, Zaner?
First, we kind of want to just bring up something. We had a graduation. So at Future Men, we have graduations at random times throughout the year because our students are kind of at their own pace.
Open enrollment is the correct term, but yeah.
Yes. Way to correct him live stream.
And we were just kind of talking before we started recording about some of the questions that family had in bringing their son home. Which kind of we realized relates to a lot of families because there's a lot of kids that go off to summer camp or do discipleship programs or, like weekend trips with the church, stuff like that.
Mission trips,
winter camps,
things,
summer camps.
True.
Fall.
Well, it's winter now though, so all the churches are doing a little ski trip, somewhere with the youth group. Yeah,
all the trips, all the camps, and
spring trips. We didn't mention those.
Sorry,
but
what we were talking about was usually there's like this spiritual high that they come back on, and that's good. It's good that they come back and they're excited and they're on fire for the Lord. But we were just talking to them about what can parents do to help foster that into the future.
Continued, yes.
Yeah, continue that into the future.
So with this particular father, we were talking yesterday, and I just reminded him, in a super nice way, when you dropped your son off, a year ago or whatever, we were just reiterating everything you've said. We're on the same page, right? We're not like some new crazy schemes or doctrine. I mean, the mic close enough. Don't worry.
I twitched. That wasn't even. I just like had a weird
but it's
moment.
like and now he's getting his son back, so to speak, and it's just life needs to go through pretty seamlessly. So you drop your kid off at winter camp or whatever, and then you go pick them up again. Yeah, you want to like highlight and figure out, okay, what were the things that were beneficial? What changed? Because they will usually come back on an emotional high, which is fine, but those things go away pretty quickly. And my belief is, you got to keep them grounded in the things that got them, quote, emotionally high, which is accountability, excitement about the Lord. You're in the Word. You're around other believers. All the things which make for a daily, steady walk, as opposed to I mainly pray and read my Bible when I'm in trouble or need something. And then once things are steady again, I just slowly forget about God again until I fall down again. And it's like, that's the cycle that I think most of us do, which is terrible. But we were just talking about jumping right into discipleship with this boy and what that looks like. And it doesn't have to be, super hyper organized. It's just, there's a day every week. There's a time every week. You are, going through some type of material and accountability and just letting him talk. I mean, Nazareth and I were doing this last night because that's a life update. Nazareth got accepted into College of the Ozarks here, which we were super happy about. Well, I guess he was accepted a while back, but there was an opening now. It's a pretty limited access, small college. But there was somebody canceled. So whoever you are, thanks.
Sorry.
Silas got in, or Nash got in. But we were talking about like, okay, so now how do you instantly change from, because we were talking about like when you went to college, because I continue to do discipleship because it happens to be in our town. So we set a day and a time, and I'll just, drive over to campus, meet with you guys, see how you're doing, talk about your life.
Get Taco Bell.
Yep. And you can talk about that. A father could do that on the phone, but, we happen to live close, so I do it in person. But my thing is, I'd rather not do it. I feel like, not in a lazy way, but it's like other men pouring into my son's life, they get different perspective. It's a different type of accountability. I think it's a good transitional time if they're doing it. So like when you went to college, right, you had like Ryan Knight, you had Zane here was one of them. You had
I actually discipled Zane.
Who else did you have besides those guys? Was there any more? Somebody you had like 3 other ones.
You just have, I think Ryan Knight was someone consistent through years, but I think when you are put into the mix of like Nash, right? Like, which was sort of different for me because you had just started like doing the discipleship when I went to college. But with Nash, he's been sort of raised with it. And so you go in with a different expectation than I think a lot of kids do, meaning when you sit down with someone older that's in that position, you're automatically assuming it's going to be more of a discipleship conversation.
Right.
Meaning you're well aware that
they're being mentored.
You're not their peer. like they do have a lot more wisdom, a lot more life experience, and you're there to learn, and you're there to like be encouraged and be discipled.
Yep.
And so I think you can have, you'll probably watch your kids go from person to person throughout different spots in their life. And there's some of that can be a warning sign that maybe they don't like what they hear, so they leave. But a lot of it's just based on your seasons, you're going to be poured into by a lot of different people. So like for me, that was Ryan for a long time and still is in a lot of ways. And then there would be other people where you sort of go to just for conversations. Like when I was struggling with something like theology, like I went to talk to Dr. Chin because I knew he had like a great reputation for dealing with this thing. And it's just kind of fun because you go in with the expectation of, I'm here to like learn. And the old guys, like they love to talk and like share and help because I think they thirst for it just as much. And so it's fun. It's a blast.
But you got to be talking to your kid in terms of like, go into it looking for this. And I was telling Nazareth, I will back out as soon as I know someone's doing it. And as an encouragement to you fathers, Nazareth was talking about basically, he mentioned the word peer at one point. I'm like, no, it's not a peer. It's not somebody your age. Yes, I would like you to have a discipleship type relationship with your roommate or with other young men at the college. That's fine. But you need somebody who's actually watching over you in a sense of they see the foolishness. Because again, let's say Dr. Chin, for example, he's had many young men walk into his office and ask some type of, theology question. It's not new to him, right? This isn't his first rodeo, as that father asked us yesterday. He was saying, that was one thing that brought him comfort at Future Men for his son. We kind of mix these conversations because they go together. This father was saying when his son, his journey here involved some pretty scary stuff of like being homeless for a little while, running away. I mean, some pretty rough stuff before Future Men, even during Future Men. And the dad was very like comforted. He said, it was obvious you'd been there before and you weren't necessarily like taken back. You had a plan in place. We received a concern, like in the comments section, right? Somebody was saying, sometimes you guys seem to take really serious issues lightly. And I'm like, okay, I want to hear those concerns from, you listeners. That's great. That's what the comment section's for. And we have to be careful because you can come across crass or not caring or whatever. But reality is, like, when you've seen it many times, you realize, okay, you're going to get through this and it's not the end of the world. It could be. I mean, if it's a drug situation, yeah, a kid could overdose or a kid could get an addiction for a while. Or if it's a runaway situation, yeah, we don't know where this kid is. He's literally homeless on the streets, and yeah, he could die, and it's horrible. Yeah. And I don't want any of those things. But reality is, again, it's an outsider. They're looking at it, and they're like, okay, here's how we get through this. So with Dr. Chin, I guarantee you, in all his years there at C of O, he's had somebody come in with a gender issue, like what they call gender dysphoria. Hey, I'm not, I got these weird feelings. For him, he's sort of disconnected. He cares greatly, right? He loves the kids there, and he wants to help them. But he can deal with it extremely objectively. As a parent, I mean, your world is falling apart. And he's like, no, it's no big deal. This kid just has a question. Let's work through it. So it does help to like get other men, other, people involved in your kids' lives for discipleship at some point. For us, it's typically been around 16, 17 and up is when we really start pushing them towards groups. You're not like a bad parent if somebody else can offer a more objective perspective on that issue, and you haven't not done your job just because your kid, like when you mentioned theology issues with Dr. Chin, I'm thinking, hey, you had solid theology. You came from my house. Ha ha.
I knew what the Nephilim were.
Yeah. But in reality is, right, it's like, okay, well, my theology is in progress as well. And, somebody asked me the other day, one of my other sons, that's another life update. Eli became like the music pastor. I don't know what you call it.
Worship pastor.
Sorry, yeah.
The music.
Whatever.
To the music.
Over at a local church here. And they don't go to our church. It's a solid church. It's actually a great church. But it's like, those things are fantastic, right? You want your kids to have their own walk. So these ideas of like plugging in when they come home from camp, hitting them, like in terms of like, hey, we're going to like take this emotional high, spiritual high, whatever you want to call it, and like, and milk it, so to speak. We want to like get more traction out of this, not have it die in a week. When a kid comes back from a college for the summer, or like in this young man who left our program yesterday, he's back home again. And it's like, okay, if you don't do your job, right, or plug him into great resources that he's now on his own flying, well, fantastic. You will see regression. because none of us were meant to stand alone. Our faith by itself can get like scary, weak, right? So this is a multiple conversation of, number one, if you're listening, if we seem, gosh, I don't want to come across as callous or even worse, arrogant or something like that on an issue. It just, we see it a lot.
Well, I think,
So we're not shocked by it.
go ahead.
I was going to say, I was just talking to a family yesterday, a mom and dad and their son, and we were kind of doing a family counseling session.
In my office, by the way.
In his office. Yeah, I kicked him out. He was very happy.
Yeah, it was.
But what I realized was I'm not like some expert on spiritual matters or like family dynamics by any means. Like there's a lot that I don't know. I don't even have my own kids. And so the role that I've served in for a long time, I'm like, what is my qualification? And really my qualification is kind of what you just said is I'm a third party. I'm removed from the situation and I can provide a more objective perspective to people that are emotionally invested in something. Yeah. And emotions cloud your judgment. And so I think that's what we want to do on this podcast really is we want to be able to provide a biblically grounded, more objective, and sometimes it's going to come across as blunt and like hard to swallow because we are talking about things that come with a lot of emotions for parents.
Yeah, because it's your family. You're feeling that pain.
We're not saying it to be rage baiters or we're not trying or callous in any way. It's, we want to kind of cut through the noise and be like, well, this is what's worked, what we've seen work. This is what we believe God says about this. And it may sound harsh or blunt sometimes, but please receive it with the good intentions that it's given.
Well, I think when I used to work at the ER, we would see this a lot where you're looking at the nurses and the doctors there. And I mean, you're truly like, I say horrible. It was good. It was
you're
hard.
Saving lives.
But like you're dealing with people like dying in front of you every single day, literally most days. And sometimes like the ER nurses or the ER doctors would get a bad rap because they'll walk into a room like that where someone's dying and they'll walk out and be able to tell a joke. And it's not that they're hard or callous or they're just jerks who don't care. It's that they literally do this every day and you have to cope somehow. And it's a lot of the same thing on this. But I think what's interesting though is, I could go into a room and someone would have their bone sticking out of their leg and it would be like, hey, how's it going? Like, this is okay, cool. This is kind of normal. This is not that big of a deal. Like, you're not going to die. We're going to get you fixed up and you'll be walking in, a month. Seems like a big deal right now though, because you're in the bed. Yeah. But I remember when Briar, our little sister, when she she had a horrible accident, we were in the ER where I worked and everything was different. Cause I'm like, oh, now it's her. Like now she's the one in pain. And you're just like this horrible feeling in your gut. You're trying not to cry. You're like, why aren't you guys doing more? Yep. And you're like, oh, this is how it feels from the other side. Mm-hmm. So it's not to say like, and you guys know, like you've had it with your kids at points where it's like, oh, this sucks as a dad. And so it's not to say that it doesn't matter. And it's not to say those emotions aren't real and they aren't valid, but it is to say, we are the third party in a lot of instances, so it's easier for us, but that doesn't mean it doesn't matter. Right. And so just hear it sort of like you said, Zane, for what it is, and just be aware that like, if it's your kid, it's way different, and that's okay. To a point, that's exactly what you said, which it's sort of, you want that in an advisor. Yeah.
If I can say real quick, keep your thought, whatever it is. At the beginning of this, when you said, I can't remember how you worded it, but you said something like, well, who are you? What do you do? The one thing I mentioned was with 14 kids, right? Well, just know that with 14 kids, it's not like we've had a ton of situations come up that involve sin, hiding sin, sinful patterns, crazy stuff. And it's like,
sinful parenting.
No, not that. Oh, but it's like, well, maybe a little bit. But it's like, we haven't seen it all by any means, but we've had enough like of the gut checking, like may just feel like a little bit despondent, a little bit like betrayed, all those emotions, and we've had them. And it's like, it was when we first started doing parenting classes with like one or two kids. It was definitely more pie in the sky or like, look how, we got this under control. You can do these things. And then the more you have, you realize, well, we don't have anything under control, but you still have the same, or like Zane said, we have God's word. We have like an experience to know okay, this is what we should be doing. This is what we should be saying. Let's help these parents get this perspective. Let's come alongside them. Let's basically, put the hand on the shoulder as they're going through it, walk with them, get them through the other side, and then, hey, get back to work.
Yeah.
So that's all it's meant to be. And if it ever comes across, you mentioned Briar's situation. When we were riding in the ambulance, I was in the back of the ambulance with her, and we had this guy show up as the EMT. His confidence, he was calm. He didn't joke at all because he was watching this young lady. He had no idea how serious it was, but we were watching, blood, pooling up in her, groin area. And I was thinking, where's this blood coming from? Because it wasn't outside, right? So I'm freaking out thinking my daughter's dying here. But his confidence definitely was good for me. Yeah. I mean, because I was just falling apart. And so it was like, okay, I was very much leaning into him thinking, okay, I can calm down. I can present a good face in front of my daughter, help her stay calm because she was wide awake. That was a horrible day, but I learned a lot. And one thing I learned was I'm really glad for trained people to come in and hold my hand through stuff that I just wanted to freak out. So
you haven't made fun of me for having a girl job since that day.
True. But should we talk about cheerleading or not in this episode?
That one's for Ethan.
Future.
Yeah. Schmeef and Schmore.
No, it's
Bill.
Bill,
that was for you. Shout out to Bill.
All right.
Anyway, back to the.
So anyway, we're not callous and we do care. Sometimes it comes across blunt.
We could be callous with some things, but
we do care.
Yeah, we do care. So, kind of going off of what we were talking about earlier with discipling your kids and taking advantage when they're really open to the things of the Lord and they're listening. I think one of the podcasts from last week, we talked about streaming and, we showed our Spotify Wrapped and all the embarrassing things on
Taylor Swift. Not to mention names.
Yeah, but it's super
Sounds
convicting.
like you have bad blood.
What's interesting?
Now my mind is just filled with lyrics. Anyway, so we were just going to continue that conversation a little bit more, but in this broader sense of teaching your kids discernment on what they're consuming. Because we talked about how, specifically with music, it can be influential and it can have an impact. I want to do a little more of a deep dive on that and how parents can really be equipping their kids. So I want to start with Psalm 101:3, Psalm of David. I will set no wicked thing before my eyes. I hate the work of them that turn aside. It shall not cleave to me. And that's the KJV. And
that means King James Version sounds.
The KJV. I was trying to save time, but we
King Jimmy
saying it anyway. So when I was kind of studying up for this, I was thinking, what is the first step in teaching your kids discernment? And I think probably the first step is you demonstrating discernment.
Yeah.
Right.
It's demonstrating to your kids what that looks like. I think I remember a few weeks ago when Eric was on our podcast, he was talking about his daughter Gemma, and she went to that sleepover and they were going to watch a movie. And that was an example of how Gemma is starting to demonstrate her own discernment and things, and why they're more confident in sending her off to public school, because they've seen that in several instances even before that. And they're like, okay, she's making good choices, right? She's learned. And I think if we rewind and we asked Eric what they were doing beforehand to kind of foster that in her, I think probably the number one thing we're going to find is they're leading by example. They're having that discernment in what their family is consuming. And I think one of the things I was talking about, it's not just what you're putting in front of your kids' eyes, because that's really important. So it's not what you're watching for family time or what you're listening to in the car, but it's also what you're doing when they're in bed, because kids find out about that stuff. They see that, and you may not think it's going to affect them because they're not the ones watching it. But we found out, because you do the music worldview at Future Men.
Right. Yep.
And what is the one thing all the kids bring up whenever you're talking about the older music of their parents?
Oh, they want to just go straight to the jugular because they feel like you're attacking my music. Why is yours any better? Yeah. And they're right. They know genre is irrelevant. well, it's not irrelevant, but it's not the main thing you should be looking at. You should be looking at the content of what are the lyrics, and then to a certain point, does this driving beat, because the beat is meant to affect you emotionally. There's no doubt about it. I mean, there's all kinds of research, and you could go deep dive on that if you wanted to. But I would say enough to just where depressing music, like emo style, you're gonna have a depressed kid, even if the lyrics aren't necessarily bad. I used to feel really like almost like gut sick a little bit when I would say early high school or late high school, early college, listening to like 70s country. Because it had sort of a very, just a feel to it without even bothering with the lyrics. Just the mode got me. So a hard driving beat can also, your kid is like amped up, raging. And yeah, the words might be good, but I mean, you have to consider everything. So, but the kids are looking for a weakness in their parent, and not because they want to help their parent have a better choice in music, but just because they want to justify what they're doing. Because none of us, if we like something, none of us want to like go back and look at it and say, should be like this. I mean, if you've ever been on a diet, you know that's true. It's like, okay, if I have to sit there and like actually look at what I'm eating on a daily basis, well, this stinks. You know, I don't want to give up all this stuff. Well, that's how our kids are with their entertainment. So,
well, I think, not to pull it away from music, but just to put another aspect, another spin on. I was watching a Dave Ramsey the other day, and it wasn't actually Dave Ramsey. It's that younger guy that works for him. He doesn't. I don't know.
Bill Ramsey,
I don't know,
his son.
He's not
Gordon
related.
Ramsay.
No. Love Gordon Ramsay though.
I don't know who that is.
But he was talking about they're taking this call, and the mom is, I mean, I would say, listening to this, not to be rude, but she's like whining about her kids always wanting the newest, greatest thing. And she's like, it's expensive. We can't afford this. She's like, but they just don't get it. Like, they keep coming back to me. Like, they want the iPhone 16. Well, you already have the 15. Like, what's so much better? And blah, 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 blah. And he's like being very kind. And he asks her, he's like, hey, I know this doesn't seem related, but like, what car do you drive? She's like, oh, like a 24, she said a 24 Suburban. He's like, oh, that came out this year, right? And she's like, yeah. She's like, what did you drive before that? She's like, well, 22. He's like, so what's the difference there? She's like, well, I just needed the, blah, blah. He's like, I'm not saying this is where the issue is. But he's like, you kind of have to lead by example, because when you tell your kids, you don't have to keep up with the times. You don't have to do X. You don't need to spend all this money. But then you go spend all the money just on different things that you, quote unquote, justify.
Need.
Yeah. They're watching you live out in real time. It's the same thing as music. It's just, you can't say it and then not live up to it. Like, you go ahead.
Oh, well, I think it's like that saying. It's do as I say, not as I do. Right?
Or more is caught, not taught.
Ooh, there we go.
Same.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But it's like this idea that as long as I'm telling them to do the right thing, then that's enough. Then they're going to turn out fine. But I think I was watching a video the other day, and it was a secular psychologist, and she was talking about the perversion of culture. And this, I mean, she's not a Christian.
Yeah, where's your standard? It's interesting.
But she was saying that media has had such an impact on our culture for the negative, and she gave the sitcom Friends as an example.
You sent that to me. That was good.
Did I send that to you?
It was really good.
And she was talking about it because what this sitcom Friends did was it made this like super relatable, like fun, like the characters are really relatable show, and they basically made light of sexual promiscuity, all of these really like
serious issues,
serious wicked things, and made light of it.
Yeah.
And then they put it into the heads of an entire generation. Like the millennial generation loves that show.
Well, and now even like younger people are watching it. Like, oh,
Gen Z
but
is
it's
like
old,
picking
so
it
it's
up.
good.
Well, and most of their parents like it.
Yeah.
So you're going to watch your kids are watching Friends. You're like, oh, this is harmless. It's like, it's probably not.
Yeah.
It's true. So the hard part is, and there are exceptions. Like when you mentioned that lady buying a 2024 Sierra or whatever, right? Reality is, okay, you may have a business write-off you need to do. You may have a legitimate reason. Well, just tell your kid. Not just, hey, we're not just catering to our worldliness, which they could be.
Yeah.
And if you're not, explain it to them. Say, hey, it's not exactly the same. Plus, in a nice way, I am still teaching you, right? So there is a weird balance of you're not your kid, but on the same hand, the principles, if they apply to you, they apply to them. If they apply to them, they actually still do apply to you. It does go both ways. It's even like with at Future Men, we have a haircut policy. and all the boys have to have a certain haircut. And I tell them it's just basically so when we're in town, you're not drawing attention to yourself. When you're at your apprenticeship, that your boss isn't like worried that you're hurting his business. You just look normal. There's nothing about you that stands out as like, hey, look at me.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't require that of the staff, especially mentors and interns. Most of my directors, they're old. They don't care how they look anyway. So they have, old man haircuts like me.
Like Zane.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Zane, a little goofy sometimes, but today it's okay.
Good job, Sawyer.
He always tells me.
But the mentors and interns, I don't necessarily put those same restrictions on them because it is a little different. But at the same time, you should be thinking, okay, well, my example counts. And I can have a conversation with this kid saying, hey, here's why. For one thing, we are trying to teach you just submission and obedience. And this is one way of getting it. And it's not like we're saying, hey, we're the power authority in your life. But there are areas where you do have to, you're training them, you're teaching them. So it's a weird balance.
Well, I think there's a difference between what you just said, which is
Just an amoral issue. Hair.
yes, an amoral issue, hair.
Isn't it
or
amoral?
No, it's amoral.
like Lance, a guy we work with, he always tells me how all the kids have to eat broccoli and vegetables at the house, but he's like, I'm the dad, I don't have to eat broccoli or vegetables. That's
sin.
Lance,
He's wrong. Lance, if you're listening, you're wrong.
Subscribe. Second of all, wrong.
But I think it's an issue like that. It's like
Yeah.
you can tell your kids that they're required to do something that you aren't. But on what you said, amoral issues.
I actually said amoral, but go ahead.
Which is wrong.
Amoral, amoral,
Potato,
tomato.
No, I really don't think that's a tomato situation.
It
I
might
gotta
not
be
be.
very honest.
You don't think so?
Keep going.
Like pecan?
Oh, he's going to go down that road.
Gosh.
Caramel.
But the Bible says, Philippians 4:8, it says, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, I'm in the KJV, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are good, report. Of a good report,
yeah.
If there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. So there is a line, right? That even as adults we're held to.
Right.
And I think that's what we have to be cautious of, because our culture wants us to push past that line and say, it's not that big of a deal. It's just friends, or it's just, fill in the blank.
Taylor Swift, yeah.
But I think sometimes our love for those things can become a stumbling block for our kids without even realizing it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think that someone very wise said this a couple weeks ago on this podcast. That
was it you?
It was me.
I knew by his face.
It was actually Charles. I think it's Charles Spurgeon. But discernment isn't the difference between right and wrong, which is easy.
I remember this one.
Yeah, because it's like, okay,
So what is the difference?
Well, the difference between. Well, I was going to explain it. Now I'm confused. Okay,
Well, say it
discernment
first.
is not the difference between right and wrong, which is easy and which is what we want. Because a Taylor Swift song where she's like cussing and singing about, promiscuity is whatever. That's like obviously wrong. I'm not going to listen to that. But a bluegrass song that's singing about, maybe some whiskey and rye and go into the levee or something, that's not a bluegrass song, but you get my point.
What?
Yeah,
I got you. That's not a bluegrass song.
I know.
Isn't that Don McLean?
Yeah. But the true definition of discernment is knowing the difference between right and almost right.
That was a quote. Yeah, that was good.
And so you can be doing something that in the eyes of, like the Lord, so to speak, like, is this a sin? Like, no, it's not a sin, but it could be like not healthy for you in that moment. Like, is eating ice cream
Or
every
season of
night
life,
a sin?
yeah.
I'm saying this about me because I eat ice cream almost every night. It's like, no, but is it also the right choice? And am I setting a good example in front of my kids? Oh, probably not. So can I adjust that? Yeah.
Belly seems to have eating ice cream every night too. She's a little
We still
fatter
don't
than
let her
heavy.
eat ice cream.
Yeah. She
And
should
so-
be eating ice cream.
I think that's when you're evaluating your music and your shows and what you read and what you say and what you buy and all because discernment you have to apply to every area of your life. Don't look for the easy answer, which is what's right, what's wrong. You I think it's a constant game of like dancing barefoot on a knife's edge of what's right and what's almost right. Like what really truly is glorifying to God, not what's just not sinning. Because I think there is a difference.
So to add to that, right? As a parent, try to find the way of coming across with that it brings you joy, right? To try to please your Savior, as opposed to, hey, look at me, I'm doing this right, so you should.
Roll your eyes. I'm doing it.
Because I think our kids would be, because I know I would be, a little more like, yeah, whatever. We would find it less attractive. But if we see joy in that in you, it's like when we're reading books, like when we're doing like beside like a parent's form of entertainment Now, not everybody likes to read. Some people are, like podcasts would be another
Some
good
people are
example.
wrong.
Yeah. But it's like, if they see, okay, this isn't just dad with this checklist, right? Whether it's music choice or whether it's what material I'm looking at in my off downtime, right? But if it's like, man, this is part of his life. He likes this.
Yeah.
I think it would make it more attractive to them. And again, it's still, at the end of the day, it's going to be up to them to make the right choices. But
And it's depending on what you're reading.
yeah. So,
Well, in other words, it's not legalism. And I think
Right.
that's
That's a good
something
point.
we can easily fall into because it's easier. It's like, oh, if I have my checklist, then I'm good. But discernment doesn't really jive with legalism, right? Because you're going to have things that are okay to do because of our Christian freedom, and you can't just like write down a list of like the this show's bad, or like all like here's something that me and my wife have talked about, this idea that like all fantasy like reading like books or movies
is a waste of time. Yeah, I agree.
is wrong. but I think that becomes a discernment issue. There are some fantasy things that I think are wicked and evil, and you shouldn't be reading that or putting
Harry
that before
Potter. I know. Keep going.
your eyes. But then there's some that I think are actually helpful and are up to discernment. And we talked about how at a certain age, I would want our children to be able to make that choice on whether or not they should read that, whether it's good for them, whether it's going to build them up in the Lord or be something that detracts from that relationship,
Yeah.
But I want them to be able to have that discernment. I don't want to just tell them what to do until they're 18 and then they leave the house and then
No
they're
ability
like,
on their own.
yeah, what do I do? Because I don't want them to become dependent on me and then they're like calling me all the time, like, should I do this? Should I do this? I want to equip them to make those decisions.
I think
and
that's the
rely on the
danger.
Spirit. Yeah.
That's the danger of the black and white, which you said, it just becomes legalism. I think a great example of this that I just came up with sitting here is football.
Oh yeah, always wrong. I agree. That's good, Silas. Amen. Man, way to go, bud. You're growing in the Lord. I'm so proud of you.
Because football is an interesting thing because
Wait, are we talking football? Like soccer?
No, we're
Or are
talking
we
American football.
Okay.
Good old
Just checking.
slinging
The
around the
pigskin.
pigskin.
All right.
Yeah. So it's weird that we both had that. It's probably Calvin and Hobbes. Anyway,
Probably.
it's the idea that like there's nothing in football that is inherently sinful. They're playing a sport. They're being competitive. They're having
Very
fun.
debatable.
Anyway, but if you come home every Sunday, every Thursday night, every Friday night, every Monday night, whatever it is, and your number one priority in your home is, I got to watch this game. I got to watch these games. I got to spend, and you're spending, I mean, quite literally one game is like usually between 2 and 4 hours. And that's a ton of time to use on a sport that affects your life literally 0%.
Unless you have money in fantasy football.
Amen. Which I have $10 riding this year.
There you
Looks
go.
like
So it does matter.
looks like Zane's slated to take it right now. But anyway.
Or font.
Actually, I still have a shot. But anyway, my point being is that like football's not wrong, but you need to have discernment when you consume things like that and what's good for my family, what's good for my relationship with Christ, and where am I putting the hours of my life that I'm consuming things. Because we talked about this before, just about Tim Tebow was saying, I don't want to get to heaven well rested. And he said, our church has recently really preached this message of you need to rest, you need to rest, you need to rest. You're not supposed to be workaholic. You're supposed to rest. He's like, that's sort of true. Like, do you need to rest? Yes. But he's like, what does rest look like? It doesn't look like watching football. It doesn't look like scrolling social media. It doesn't look like watching Friends to get a break. He's like, we're commanded to rest in the Lord. Like, cast your anxieties upon the Lord, not veg out and rot.
Does he go to your church, Tim Tebow?
No, I wish he did, though. I could learn.
Shout out to Tim Tebow.
I would love-
like and subscribe.
Does he want to
buddy.
be on our podcast?
I think he does.
He'll be here eventually.
Tim, give us a call.
But anyway, but I really liked that because I was like, I think we can feel this pressure, or oftentimes I find myself doing this, justify like, okay, well, I need to go like work out because I need to rest. And it's like, I need to go do this. And it's like, no, like if you're really at a point where you're that stressed out, like I'm all for taking time. And I think we are called to enjoy life too. But it's like, am I truly resting in Christ? Because the ease of my life should not be found in watching football or working out. It should be found in like casting all my anxieties upon the Lord. Oh, that was going to be a good clip and you ruined it.
Thank you. All right.
Any other thoughts? This is a huge issue, and you could talk about it with everything. So it's kind of hard to like nail down into 45 minutes. But
Well, with his like recapping on what are you streaming, right? reality is it doesn't matter if we went back in time 100 years ago, the hobbies, the distractions would have been different, but it's the same. It's just how much time are you spending and what's your point in doing that? So,
yeah. Well, I mean, I think when we talk to kids about the type of music they're listening to or the shows they like to watch, a lot of parents are like mortified because it's rap music. It's like these horrible, like
Screamo
cartoons like South Park or
Family Guy.
Yeah. Rick and Morty, that's what I was thinking of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's just like all this like obviously disgusting, like wicked things. And I think the reason parents react that way is because it's vile. Like the
content
is vile. It's gross. But it's also, I think parents innately, even if they're not exactly sure how, know that this is going to affect my child's behavior. It's going to affect my child's character,
right?
Their relationships, like this has an actual real world impact. And I think sometimes kids are very naive in thinking they can consume that and it's not going to change them. It's not going to affect them at all.
That's good.
They always roll their eyes when I say like, you shouldn't play Grand Theft Auto because it's glorifying like stealing and all these
prostitution,
violence, beating each other up, and
cool cars.
They just think it's fun, and it was like, oh, and I'm like, but you're literally making yourself more prone to do those things. You don't realize it, but you're desensitizing yourself
and you're normalizing it in your life. Yeah,
that's why we have like a whole culture where a generation of people that aren't that disturbed by the fact that people are robbing Targets in California. The older generation's horrified because they're like, what the heck? But all these kids that have been playing those types of games and listening to that kind of music, they're like, there's worse things.
It happens.
Yeah.
I think 1 Corinthians 10:31, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. I like that verse because eating and drinking, like those aren't sinful things. It's saying like even in the little things, right and almost right. Like, are you doing it to the glory of God? And I think that's the question you have to come back to and bring your whole family back to is soccer and playing soccer and going to all your soccer games, not sinful, not a bad thing. But is it what's enabling our family to do what we do for the glory of God? Maybe not. Maybe it's pulling us away from that mission. And so I think when you ask yourself all these questions of all your music and media and whatever it is you're doing, really pull yourself back to that mission of, is this glorifying God? And if it's not, it's probably almost right. And I probably shouldn't be doing it or doing it in much more moderation.
Yep.
So
that's good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
place to end.
That's a super fun episode about conviction.
Discernment.
Yeah. Come back next week where we're going to talk about.
Well,
not next week. Come back Friday or
next
Monday.
Episode, yeah. We'll be talking about self-esteem.
That is going to be a fun
controversial
lack of self-esteem.
Good.
Anyway, come back next week. But before you leave, if you like this episode or if you're liking the podcast in general, please subscribe and follow us on YouTube, on
Please tell your
Spotify,
friends.
on wherever you're listening. Please tell all your friends, send it to them, and comment any questions you have, and we'd love to answer those. I love seeing the comments. We're having more comments pour in now, and it's really fun to see like how different people take it, how it affects their lives, because everybody's different. So it's fun to actually see that. And then if you look on the top link of our description, you can go to join our school group, which sounds kind of it's a stupid name. We'll probably name it something cooler in the future, but we're going to have a lot more resources there coming up this next year. A lot more applicable stuff, and it's free right now, but it won't be free forever. So if you want to join, that sounds interesting, go join now so you don't have to pay later. And with that, we're out.
Sounds good.
See you next week.